Hey, children of Duff, welcome to the Three Amigos podcast. I am your host, or I'm not your host. This is Joel. Where's Brian? Say hi, Brian.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm a bit sick still, but I'm here.
Yes, that's a very long hi, but we'll take it. Mark, say hi.
Hello, happy to be here.
Yes, so this has been quite a goofy week for a lot of reasons. Thanks for tuning in and putting in the live chat like an hour early. Some of you did, which is very nice. But anyway, Dash has been through a very interesting couple weeks, to say the least, and the rest of the cryptoverse as well. So the thing that's on everyone's mind, of course, is China. There's been some fun stuff coming out of China over the last, basically all of September, right? Crypto markets peaked at the very beginning of the month. It was going nuts, like 179 billion total or something. And then there's a lot of stuff coming out of China. First, Chinese government banned ICOs. That markets took a hit. Then there's more rumors about, they might have banned Bitcoin, they maybe didn't. There might be some exchange problems, maybe didn't. Market tanked again and then recovered. And then the big whack came as the regulators announced that they were going to have pretty much all exchanges shut down in China. All crypto for fiat exchanges in China shut down, and then to go through the process of getting them properly regulated, right? And so after that, the crypto markets crashed to something like 97 billion or so. So about like almost half of everything got whacked. So Dash, I remember Dash was like around 400 at the beginning of the month, and I was like, holy wow, this is great. And then it went down to, what was it, the lowest? It was like 220 or something. I think it was around 220, and I started to get that little that little twinge of nervousness. Obviously, know that this is going to be over. Know that the fundamentals are secure. Know that if it went down to like 10 or 5 or whatever, it's still a valuable service. It's not for the price, but it's still like okay, I guess I'm going to have to take a hit on paying some bills in a week or so. But everything turned out pretty well. Dash is on the rebound, back up to about 280 or so, and the rest of the crypto markets are up. That was a very fast rebound, by the way, right? Because it was pretty much people waiting for the floor to pounce and just buy back in. Hey, who wants a new Masternode? They're cheap now. just jump on in. And everything rebounded very quickly.
There was a clear support line that it bounced off. It was and I'm just talking about the Dash charts. It was very, very clearly defined where it came down and really strong support and bounced off. A lot of this obviously is dictated by Bitcoin's moves, but it's been very, very interesting. I know a lot of people are panicking, but I see this as opportunity. I made a comment in the Slack earlier today that if there's ever going to be a Dash version of the flipping in, the dashing in, you have to realize and accept at some point there has to be some kind of event with Bitcoin happen for Dash to exceed and take over. Now, whether this is it or not is probably a long way off, but we're on the road to evolution, which is meant to be publicly released June next year. So I would quite like to have a Dash version, a dashing.in.watch website version of the flipping in, because then we publicly see those metrics and people can watch them. And it's planting the seeds. If people aren't thinking about it and they don't know the end game, then they're not going to be thinking about it. You've got to plant the seed.
Yeah.
Yes, it's funny.
Really close to Litecoin.
Well, speaking of Litecoin, have you ever seen flippening.watch?
Yeah. So we need to talk to the web dev of that guy. I want the Dash version of that website.
Here's a funny thing, right? So flippening.watch, for the viewers at home, is a website dedicated to the Ethereum flippening of Bitcoin, right? Overtaking Bitcoin, which kind of lost its steam, but in terms of nodes and transactions, Ethereum's still up. Anyway, that was then copied by the Litecoin folk, and now there's flappening.watch over Chicken, right? The Litecoin Chicken, and about Litecoin overtaking Ethereum, and that also is kind of, I don't know. Do we want one because it's kind of a jinx?
Yeah.
Like you just start getting arrogant, and then no, the market has spoken. You're staying down there for a while.
I just think it'd be really interesting because before we know it, Christmas will be here, and then that 6-month journey into the evolution release, we've still got many updates to go. And so far, as we've learned this week, they're on track in terms of the roadmap. So it's looking good. So it'll just be great to have like a public resource that people can go to, look at the metrics and see the journey that's happening. And if you actually have something that people can see and they're aware of, you've got to make that end game clear. Otherwise, people aren't going to know it, right? So there's going to be an iron. But if you put it out there, it's going to be in the back of people's minds. You've got to start from somewhere.
Yes, and I think that there's definitely shows that Dash has its eye on the prize of becoming the digital currency of the world, or one of the big ones, just taking things over. And it is kind of, seeing as Dash is like 1.6 or 7% of the market right now, it is a little bit arrogant seeming, but that's fine. Now, if I were to do that, since it's such an easy copy and paste job, I'm sure, to make such a site, I'd like to do that for the most random of the shit coins as well, right? Like Dubai coin, do a Dubai coin flippening chart with Bitcoin or something. Whatever the most terrible, terrible. The Dogening, right? Of course, you gotta have Doge. You gotta have like, when's Doge gonna be taking over? You know, the wowening, right? You can just start adding all those and just randomly shit post with them. Just put them random places. Like, oh, you see, it's gaining.
So let me ask some questions, because I did miss out quite a bit this week. So the Chinese, they're banning the exchanges, but they're going to bring them back. Is that the deal? Is that the latest, or?
Yes. So basically, from what I've heard, right now, a lot of this is behind the Great Firewall, and I just hear little drops of nuggets of info. There were supposedly regulations in place prior to now that made exchanges have to comply with a certain list of rules, and they weren't. So basically, and now don't roast me if I'm totally wrong. I just heard these rumors floating around, right? I'm not writing an article about it. This isn't peak journalism right here. But rumor is all the exchanges were operating pretty much illegally, and now the Chinese government's cracking down on that, including, ICOs. And it's not so much that the ICOs are going to be permanently illegal, although right now they are. It's that they will be reined in and then, I guess, reintroduced into the wild once there's been a little bit of control placed on them. So same thing with exchanges, right? They have to shut down the exchanges, and then some of them will be allowed to come back once they've complied with certain regulations.
Yeah, it just sounds like bullshit to me. Here's what I think's behind it. Something that I was watching.
Can you do it in Alex Jones' voice?
Yeah, I'll do it close, because it was We Are Change, Luke, which is a little more rational at times, I guess.
Shit.
But yeah, the We Are Change, he did a video, and this was right about the same time that China announced all this. And I've got an article here, and it was talked about China sees new world order. There you go, Joel. China sees new world order with oil benchmark backed by gold. So this was September the 1st when this article came out. And it was right about this time that China started with all this talk about banning the exchanges, and they were already engaged with the crypto, or with the ICOs. So basically what this article talks about is that China, I'll read part of it here. Hold on. It says that China is expected shortly to launch a crude oil futures contract priced in yuan and convertible into gold, and what analysts say could be a game changer for the industry. It says the contract could become the most important Asia-based crude oil benchmark. Given that China is the world's biggest oil importer, crude oil is usually priced in relation to Brent or West Texas Intermediate futures, both denominated in US dollars. China's move will allow exporters such as Russia and Iran to circumvent US sanctions by trading in yuan, to further entice trade. China says the yuan will be fully convertible into gold on exchanges in Shanghai and Hong Kong. So basically, what they're doing is they're trying to do an end run around the petrodollar and trade and make it easily convertible. Their oil for gold, basically, and so cryptos does not really fit into that picture. So it seems to me like they're trying to force Bitcoin and cryptos kind of out of the picture and get their people back on, using gold and stuff like that. I don't know. It seems bullish for gold to me. But yeah, that seems like maybe what could be behind it is this is serious stuff. They're really pushing hard with this. They've been stacking gold for a while, and this may be their big push.
Well,
yeah, so that could be what's behind it. They're just cracking down on cryptos to push their people even more into gold. They've encouraged gold buying before. They've said that they're going to quit exporting their gold, and like Mark said, they were mining it. So I think that could be something that's behind the whole exchange. Yeah. I think that's just the whole regulate. They were very regulated. I'm not buying that. I think it has to do with this Chinese oil, gold, Russia, Iran deal that they're trying to put together to undermine the petrodollar. This is serious stuff, kind of scary times, but it's very serious.
Yes, I think that's so funny how crypto just came, it comes in like a wrecking ball. Like they have all these carefully constructed plans, and then crypto just comes off. See what people just do crazy things. Like, for example, there's this Dash conference scheduled for next week in Caracas, Venezuela, right? And supposedly, I think there's going to be a story, of course, after the fact, but apparently the venue was booked for an estimate of about 150 people, with a guess about 80 would show up. Well, right now about 900 have signed up. So that's going to be gangbusters. It's going to be crazy. And I don't think that Venezuelan officials are kind of ready for crypto to just take over like that. I don't think a lot of the world is ready for just what happens with cryptocurrency. I don't think cryptocurrency is ready for what's happened with cryptocurrency, right? I think a lot of people have been thinking a little bit more like, oh, well, pretty soon you'll be able to pay with Bitcoin places and all that kind of stuff. And then Ethereum's going to run a bunch of smart contract stuff, and it's going to power a bunch of other stuff. And then it seems like a lot of those use cases have not really come into fruition fully yet, but the markets and the hype is just so definitely a little bit of a chaotic time and a chaotic field to be in.
Well, I just posted a link to that article in our private chat, and I'm also posted it in the Dash Force channel there on the Dash Nation Slack. I'm also going to post this Luke Rudowski video because I do feel like that's what's behind it, or at least part of it. I mean, I don't know what else makes sense. I mean, China's banned Bitcoin so many times, I've lost count over the years.
Let's not forget that the actual Beijing conference that the Dash Core team was meant to go to was cancelled on the 10th of September. Was it the 9th? It was one of the two. So that got rescheduled to actually Hong Kong because that was the whole ICO thing. But yeah, I think you're right. It's actually the BRIC nations. So China and Russia are the biggest central banks, are the biggest net buyers of gold as well. But the funniest thing that was said all week for me was Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan, that there's no value in Bitcoin because it comes from out of thin air. Just like, what a hypocrite, got bailed out. We're talking about the US dollar here, things being printed out of thin air. And yet that's his main argument against Bitcoin. You can't make this stuff up. I was banging my head against the wall. It's like, he's trolling. That is trolling.
Yeah, that was funny. And also, this is the same guy who came under fire for doing some Christmas card of him just hitting tennis balls all around his big mansion, breaking stuff. And supposedly one of his daughters bought Bitcoin. And then people have been harassing all of them on Twitter about, oh, you should tell your dad this. And they're like, wrong daughter. It's like, it was pretty funny.
I put a tweet out too. One of them responded and said that, hey, yeah, this is the wrong daughter, guys. And people were commenting on there. And I basically told her, yes, if you want to outdo your sister, and you want to be the cool sister, buy Dash. That'll make you the coolest sister.
Yes.
the one that did buy the Bitcoin, supposedly she's not on Twitter. The other two are.
Yeah, so now we know that's a very obscure information now, but it was very welcome from that tangent. Yes, very interesting times we're in now with all that. And that's the thing is Peter Schiff is an interesting character because he's been a traditional sound money advocate, but more particularly a precious metals bug. And he's had a confrontational relationship with Bitcoin. And he still says it's like not good, not real, kind of. He still FUDs it, but then you see him posting articles about like correlating Bitcoin with gold, like when people leave fiat currency, they go for Bitcoin and gold, right? And so I don't know if he's like warming up to it and stuff, but it's very funny.
Cognitive dissonance. Yeah, he on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. Yeah, he was making the case for the gold back. He was saying how Bitcoin, you couldn't use it for all this and that, and then he was at the same time he was very hypocritical, saying, "Well, then now there's a gold backed, credit card or debit card. I forget what it is. It may be goldmoney.com, but yeah,
it's his. I wanted to get one before I heard about Bitcoin.
It's actually pretty cool, but it is centralized. It's going to have to be stored somewhere. It's like, all of his, I don't know of any of his arguments that really hold water as far as arguing crypto. I mean, I love gold. We've all showed our silver and gold and stuff off. I still hold it. I plan to buy more, but all of his arguments are they just fall apart under scrutiny. With somebody who really knows what they're talking, I'd love to see a debate between himself and Andreas Antonopoulos or anybody. Trace Mayer. Those would be great. That needs to happen. I'm sure it will happen. And I'm sure they're gloating now that the Bitcoin's crashed. Him and Jamie Dimon are gloating now that it's crashed, but it's
not so much for Schiff from what I've seen. But the interesting thing about Schiff is about like a debate. I don't think he'd have a debate just because I don't think he really has rational arguments against it. And it's when you hear people talking enough, right? Eventually you start to recognize nonsense when you read it, when someone's just talking to talk, like when they don't have anything, when they're just, politicians speak. And so Peter Schiff's like a very, very direct person. Like, the market's going to crash. Fiat's down. The Fed's doing quantitative easing. That's not going to work. There's that. And, he's very straightforward with his stuff. And then, gold's backed by this. That's why it's going to win out, blah, blah, blah. And then when he's talking about crypto, it's just like, and it's throwing arguments. I don't think he has an argument he's sticking with. I think he just doesn't like it and FUDs about it. And someone was making fun of his sort of anti-crypto arguments, saying, don't Bitcoin sucks because the government's going to ban it. It's like, okay, so if they're going to ban gold or something or regulate gold, does that mean gold sucks?
Yeah,
it's a little bit weird.
Now his arguments can all be debunked. It's really sad. I wish he grew on the crypto bandwagon, but this is a guy who's been telling people, he's been bragging about selling crypto since it was in the hundreds of dollars. So he's not someone you want to take advice from. However, him and Jamie Dimon both have points that, Jamie Dimon said it could go to like 100,000 per Bitcoin. And nobody really knows how big the bubble is going to get before it pops, but these bubbles just form and they pop. Looks like it's popped now. The China FUD's over. It's recovering. It looks good.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. We've actually had some good news for Dash this week. And so initially,
let me finish with the bad news first, just because I went sunshine and rainbows over there. The only other bad news is, so 10x is also having to delay their cards to non-European partners because their bank is also going through the same thing that Wirex and ShakePay are all prepaid debit card parts. So that's going to be a little bit of a hiccup, and that's sad for a lot of people, myself included. But luckily, we have good old sunshiny Mark Mason to bring in the joy of wonderful news and great things. And look at that smile with those pearly whites. Take it away.
Yeah, don't be too sad about 10x, because I'm still excited to learn about Scott Dash Air Racer, Dash Aerosports 10x card. I can't wait for the details to come out about that. That kind of makes me feel a bit better about the Charlie situation. But the good news this week, we had two. So one was, Joel was quite sharp on this one. So Ryan Taylor, CEO of Dash Core, tweeted out saying we've been added onto a Japanese exchange called Cryptos, but with a Q, so Cryptos. But however, it's not really the first Japanese exchange Dash has been added to, is it, Joel?
No, apparently CoinCheck is also a Japanese exchange that has added Dash a long time ago. Cryptos is not Japanese based necessarily. It's
it's got 3 offices.
Parent company, yes. In Singapore, because of course, Japan and Vietnam, and then Cryptos is a crypto-only exchange, so that doesn't really necessitate any kind of what would you say, physicality, right?
Yeah,
could be exchange,
but they
anyway,
do have
right?
the trading pair for the Japanese yen, so that is good. So there is some truth to that element there. They are in the Japanese market, and they do have a fiat trading pair. And then today, we can have some fun with this one. Joel broke the news on dashforcenews.com. If you go check it out now, although I'm probably about to ruin it for you, Dash got added to cex.io. Now, do we call that sex.io? How would you pronounce that? cex.io.
Kex, like praise Kek.
Sex.
I think we were on there before, weren't they? And I think we got kicked off. They booted us off. I'm pretty sure we were on there once before, and they dropped us because I remember the Monero trolls were like, they kicked y'all off. I mean,
it's good news. I don't know how much impact it will have on Dash. As soon as I saw the news, the first thing I did, I went to CoinMarketCap. I went to the volume of Bitcoin, and I thought, well, how much impact do they actually have on Bitcoin? I think they're doing when I checked, it was about 15 million in the 24-hour volume. I mean, so it's still quite substantial in terms of Dash trading volume in 24 hours. So it could be quite a good thing. So, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's always great Dash has been added into more places.
Yes, they say it's a 1.3 million users, which sounds okay. Here's the other thing, though. They have USD pairs, Great Britain pound, and euro. Right, dollar, euro, and pound trading pairs for Dash, and they allow you to do that, to buy it with credit or debit cards, including they're going to add something called a bundle, where you'll be able to just buy like $100 worth on a credit card instead of putting in a buy order or something like that. You could just say, I want to buy $100 at current exchange rate. So that'll make it very easy. And in fact, that was one of our good friend Amanda B. Johnson's big gripes with Dash, is how it was hard to just go and buy some via credit card. And I know that it's a UK-based exchange, so obviously UK users will be able to use a card and just go buy it. And they have USD trading pairs. I don't know if that means that Americans can now just go use a credit card or debit card and buy Dash. I tweeted at them. As soon as I get an answer, I'll let you guys know, because that could be huge.
Yeah, I don't think that when we were on before, I'm pretty sure we were on before, and I don't think that we had all those other. I think it was just Dash and Bitcoin. So there's a lot of extra features and stuff added. I think that was an exchange we had really, really, really early on that got hacked. Some of the more OG people can weigh in on that. I mean, in the first couple of months, it was hacked. I believe that, but I don't know. I'm spreading the speculation without facts.
Should we give a shout out to Charlie Shrem? I believe he got married today. So congratulations.
Congratulations on escaping with your life from one disaster.
Yes.
And I guess getting married.
Yeah, Max and Stacy have gone to the wedding as well. So that's quite interesting. No.
That sucks.
Yeah, actually, filming doesn't start until about the 18th. So it was initially meant to be the 11th, but it was pushed back. So yeah, so that's pretty interesting. So Do you know what? I actually, on Tuesday, I wrote all these like tweets up that I was going to send Charlie to pester him about the card, but I thought I saw the stuff that was going on, and I believe the wedding got put back because of all the stuff that's been going on with the weather over there. So I don't know how long.
Just a rough
how long
spot
do
of
you
weather,
think,
you know.
no,
It was like everyone dying, but whatever.
Yeah, you know how you've seen the weather over here? It's miserable, but I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. But so how long do you think you would be fair time to wait before start hounding him about the card? A week into the honeymoon, maybe, or?
2 weeks. Like by that time, you should be like bored and checking your phone every day anyway. So you should probably have nothing to do by then.
Yeah, I mean, don't misunderstand. I think everyone's actually on the same page here. Everyone wants this card and they're looking forward to it.
Albert says 5 more minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, he's kind of become a bit despondent with me because, you know, we communicate by email and then he just stopped replying. So I think the last update I actually gave on the Free Amigos podcast was that he was opening up an office on Monday, and then it kind of went quiet. I'm sure he had loads of wedding stuff and things going on, but even still, you know, I said to him, even if there is no update, it only takes one sentence on a tweet. That's all you need to do, and it's not difficult to put up a coming soon page. It'll make a world of difference. Otherwise, people could only speculate and think the worst, and you kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because when we did the video interview, even before we got into the questions, the first thing that he addressed was to apologize about not actually giving the updates that he promised. And this wasn't me forcing that issue. He said that on his own admission, but now he's kind of, I mean, I'm sure he's juggling other things as well, but I don't want to make excuses. If you promise something, you should, deliver on it. But
well, you know what? We're a can-do community with a self-funding mechanism. So who wants to submit a treasury proposal to fund a skywriter to chase him around on his honeymoon, writing in the sky, "Where's the Dash card, Charlie?"
Should we make a bounty for it?
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I'd throw in a little bit of that just for them.
Can
you imagine news headlines?
I was going to send it. I decided not to do this because now we're getting a bit more well-known publicly for Dash. I kind of have to be a bit more careful on what we say publicly on tweets and memes and that stuff. But I was going to send him a tweet of a picture of a suit, custom suit with all the Dash logos and stuff. I was saying, "Oh, you didn't get the wedding present in time," just to see how he would react to it. Because I noticed he never really talks about Dash on his Twitter feed. And one thing that did kind of rub me the wrong way was there was a tweet with Fluffy Pony about the keynote London Dash conference where he took
you
like
can
a
just
screenshot.
stop it there, right? Tweet with Fluffy Pony just triggers me instantly.
Yeah, and like basically Keynote puts on lots of events and they're putting on the London conference for Dash. And Fluffy's been a previous speaker at the Keynote once. And so Fluffy put up a picture of things saying like, "Oh, I've never spoken at a Dash conference before," and all this sort of stuff, when clearly he knew it was a Keynote thing that he'd done before. And then like Charlie was listed on there as well because he's spoken at blockchain events from Keynote before, and it was like, "No, I haven't either." And I was just like, well, that's not strictly true. We sent you to Europe on our behalf to speak at a couple of things, but the fact that you would go there and say that and try to proclaim that with Fluffy, trying to distance yourself from Dash, that kind of really made me think twice, saying, I don't take my kindness for weakness. I've been polite and very patient with you for your benefit, not mine. Don't.
Yeah. Isn't that card? Isn't the cards already available through like all these other cryptocurrencies now? Didn't they add Dash and then like 50 others?
Yeah, Pizza added 50 cryptocurrencies, including Dash. However, the fees are much more expensive than what Charlie said in the interview, and he was reading off the paperwork. So I'm hoping that's still going to be the case. Obviously, with the one Dash physical store fee, I listened to you guys. I read your comments, not just on the video interview, but in the Slack as well. You were talking about 10x, and one of you kindly gave me the breakdown of how 10x do the fees and pass it on to the merchant. I actually passed that on to Charlie, and I said, "Look, here's your biggest competitor. If you really want to make a go of this, you got to pass this on to the Pazer and try and get this stuff worked out before you guys launch. If you want to make a success of this, you got a cheaper card, you've got better fees in other areas, but that physical store fee, I believe will hold you back, because everyone always uses the coffee shop as an example. And it sounded like he did take it on board. I think he said he was going to pass it on to the CTO of Payzer. And I'm hoping, as they're based in London, that he may attend the London Dash conference. So I'm going to be on camera with Jeff Smith, aka CoinGun, and people like that are attending. I'm going to grab and try and interview for you guys, and we'll end up streaming it probably on the Dash Twitch channel, just because of the setup we've got to do. But yeah, so yeah, if you guys can't even attend the London conference, don't worry. People of interest will sit down and ask them questions and try to keep you guys updated as best as possible.
Yeah, there's also going to be some swag. Dash Force News is giving away some swag, so go see Mark, and yeah, he'll hook you up.
Yeah, so in the chat, if you're coming to the Dash London conference, say yes now, but you're going to have to be quick. So there's, for the first 100 people coming in, I'm going to be giving like a goodie bag. And I kind of let the cat out of the bag last week. So one of the things you'll be getting is a t-shirt, but the rest is a mystery. So there'll be other goodies in there. So make sure. I'm hoping I'm going to need some help actually. So I might rope in a few people, because I'm going to have to bag up a lot of stuff. So I'm hoping Mo, the guy, the leader of CEO of Keynote, I'm hoping he'll let me in the building beforehand to bag up some stuff. And I'm hoping as you guys walk in, I can just give out the 100 bags or so, and then that'll make my life a bit easier. But yeah, so if you are coming, make sure you get up early so you don't miss out. You can't complain, it's your fault.
Yeah, one thing that was brought up in the forums, or yeah, it was in the forum or the Slack about the release of 12.2. And I'd speculated last week that it wasn't going to happen until after the conference, just because everybody's going to be there, and then everybody's going to need to get back home, get settled back in. So yeah, I'm thinking it's not going to happen in September. It'll probably be October, which is, you know, that's not too bad. I mean, these schedules that's just crypto. These schedules kind of get broken all the time. It's not anything Dash. But now our last release did take way, way, way longer than it should have probably, but from what I understand, there was a lot of stuff moved around, added, and made better. So, and then as we know, about a month or so after that, the price just took off, and it hasn't stopped until Bitcoin struck us down recently.
Yeah, I just saw a comment from Martin Kelly in the live chat saying it was overbooked though. Are you talking about the London conference? Have they sold out of tickets? I've not checked. Have they sold out? I was actually curious to see how many tickets they've sold and who's coming. So if anyone knows that, let me know. I've not actually spoken to Mo to get the final number. I thought tickets were still available, personally speaking. So if that is the case, and you're looking to get a ticket, you left it a bit late to get flights now. You've got like a week to go. It's on Sunday, next Sunday. So was it dash.keynote? So go check that out. And
how big is the venue? Do we know how big that venue is? Or
it's just like one big hall. So just imagine just one big hall. So I'm imagining just lots of chairs pointing to the stage. The breakdown is just like speakers in like 20 minutes sections. And then with like the little tea break. Gotta have tea, it's England. And I need my mug for that. Finger. You gotta do the finger, you gotta do the pinky. And then obviously lunch break. And then it's meant to be like a social function afterwards, 7 till 10, but it's still not clear where that's gonna be. So I'm scared people are going to turn around to me and say, like, Mark, what pub are we going to go to now? So we'll work something out.
It's just one day, right? It's a Saturday, just one day.
So it's actually on a Sunday, which I thought was a bit weird. But yeah, so the Dash conference is on the Sunday, and then on the Monday and Tuesday is the blockchain conference. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I've got a ticket to that as well. So I'm going to be popping in there and seeing what's about. Ryan will also be talking on Monday, I believe, at the blockchain conference as well, which is also organised by Keynote. So yeah, it's not how I thought it was originally going to be. I mean, I may be wrong, but I initially thought that there was going to be like an exhibition of all the different Dash partners and vendors and stuff. That may still be the case, but they spoke about like demonstration booths and all sorts of things in the press release that we got. So who knows? I mean, wouldn't it be great? I don't want to disappoint anyone, but you know when you go into like the Apple stores and they've got like all the iPads and everything open up like a little section like that? Wouldn't it be great if they had like prototypes of stuff? You could just go in and just get like a little sneak peek of stuff. Is that just me fanboying out? Or that'd just be ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would love to see Evan come up with some sort of Masternode hardware cluster, like styrofoam model or something like that. Just be like, this is what we can imagine the Masternode setup being like in the future. And then you just see like, oh, this is the server, this is the that, this is how it all pulls in. And then we can actually take one of these and put them each in a home. So one Masternode is spread out, and I'm visualizing it, right? You just put it all over. It'd be fun to see kind of like forward thinking stuff. I don't care if it's not accurate within a year or so.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting. So guys, it is going to be recorded. Keynote are actually video recording it, but then they're passing on the footage to Core, which I believe they will then release like the day afterwards. So it's not the video that's been recorded by them is not going to be live, but it's going to be professionally recorded apparently. So that will be uploaded. So there will be good quality content coming out. In terms of the live coverage, that will be provided by me and Jeff Smith. And Jeff is kindly bringing over, I can't believe he's bringing us on the plane, but he's got a big mixer. And we're going to hopefully have like set up 3 microphones. We'll be streaming most likely on the Twitch channel. So if you watch the open house event live stream, it'll be very similar to that. Maybe, possibly, I would like to see it maybe on the Dash YouTube channel. It's got 17,000 subscribers on there. That'd be a great way to get the message out. So basically, we're going to set up a desk and we're just going to be talking like podcast, what's going on, looking for people of interest, sit them down, ask them questions, move on, just letting you guys know exactly what's going on. And yeah, so it's going to be interesting. I'm sure it's going to be a bit stressful, but I'm really excited about it. So, and I want to make sure the people that can't attend understand everything that's going on, so you don't miss out on any juicy gossip.
Yeah, Bitcoin seems to be recovering pretty good now. It's bringing us back up, getting close to 300 again.
Yes, let me was 285 right now. It looks like according to CoinMarketCap. Let's just pour out a little bit of our drink in honor of Litecoin. Got hit really hard, did not recover nearly as well. Probably because a lot of Litecoin's inflated price had to do with a lot of trading on Chinese exchanges, precisely the ones that have gone down. So Litecoin took a big hard whack on the chicken neck there, and
it's not over for them. Yeah, the bad news is not over for them or NIM, and a lot of these heavily Chinese traded coins are gonna.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all that went. I mean, NEM and Dash are the only ones in the top 10 with a double-digit positive 24-hour increase. Ethereum Classic is still like just did not do well at all through that. But yeah, so it's good to see Dash still in the top rankings there. It's going to be very interesting because we talk about those of us who are in the Dash community really know what's going on, right? We know that Dash is onto something really special in terms of idea, planning, execution, all that stuff. And Dash has this massive developmental budget, has just all this kind of infrastructure build up, all this kind of stuff, preaching to the choir again. But it's funny because the market doesn't reflect that yet. And I'm pretty sure we've been over that a million times about how it's hard to fight through all the coins to get your little piece of the hype. And besides, Dash is kind of low key right now. But yeah, think about this, right? The block size will be increased in November, right? To 2 megabytes to handle a lot more transactions. And Dash is going to be scaling up to take on a massive increase in users. And we're so far from that point. It's going to be very interesting because how we've seen like the meteoric price rise this year, it's going to be 10 times that degree of meteoric user rise over the next year. And it's going to be very trying for the Dash community to keep up with all that growth. And I mean, that's happened with a lot of groups like, for example, Dash Core over the course of this year, just grow all this money pouring in, having to hire a bunch of people to do a bunch of things, just all eyes on Dash. And just, it's got to be chaos. It's got to be just, it's not like, oh, we had gradual or rapid growth. It's just like all of a sudden, you know, you go from the little street corner political activist to just someone just dumps you into the Oval Office. You got to run America now. All right, go for it. It's like, oh my goodness. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with the Dash network and community over the next year.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to talk about, two things actually that don't get hyped very much. The first one is, I don't know how much smart contracts, basically, you know, we're going to be able to do some smart contract type things with the Masternode transaction locking. That's going to set up some various smart contract thing. I haven't looked too deep into Ethereum to see exactly how much deeper they go, but we can do at least basic stuff and even more than basic stuff with the Masternode transaction locking. And then another thing that hasn't been hyped that seems like a really, really big deal, and we all know about it, but it's that's the marketplace that we're creating within the Evolution wallet. I mean, that people have been, you know, coins have been trying to do that forever. You know, the decentralized market. Now, I don't know how decentralized this market will be or how much control we'll have, if people are going to be selling pot there, or you know, what kind of controls we'll have over it.
Or much crazier things than pod.
Yeah, I don't know, you know, what the mechanism for how centralized that's going to be, or if it is going to be truly decentralized marketplace. But it's very interesting. It looks to me like what they're setting up is a Amazon / eBay type system mixed with PayPal, but Dash will kind of be the PayPal, which will be the bank. So that's huge. I mean, Amazon is like one of the biggest things going now. If we have it all, you know, we'll have our own payment system, our own banking thing. It'll go from fiat, you know, in and out. It should be pretty awesome. That seems like a huge thing. It just hasn't been hyped that much, but I don't know all the details of it.
Yes. So before I get my take on that, Albert just asked, is that bastard ale? Yes, it is. Arrogant bastard. Very astute of you. Anyway, and also, as Chuck says, Brian, I think you got it. It's a platform, not a product. And that sounds like really cool. It sounds like Dash is meaning to be the one-stop shop crypto for the masses, for 90% of the planet. And there's just like a little bit of other things that you might like. Maybe if you want like super encrypted transactions to where there's not even like a blockchain to publicly look at, or you might go with another coin. If you want to do some weird high-end back and forth communication between computers and stuff like that, there might be something for that. But it's like the 90% of everything. Now, always when you think about one-stop shop things, right? The best one-stop shops like Amazon are centralized services because they can control, they can scale very well, and they can pivot rapidly, and they can control the quality of their content, right? Now, if through the DAPI, right, the Evolution Marketplace being decentralized, that's going to be weird, because is it going to have that smoothness and universality of a centralized service like Amazon or like Google? Or like, what are going to be the growing pains that happen through experimenting with this completely decentralized system? And so, for example, BitSquare, formerly BitSquare, now Bisq, is a decentralized exchange in that you install a client on your computer, right? You can't shut down the BitSquare website or whatever, Bisq. You can't shut down Bisq's website. You just, everyone has this client like BitTorrent, and they all run, and then you set up with partners, and you do all this kind of stuff. You trade, right? You do like it does like an escrow type thing, and then you do a bank transfer, and then they release the crypto, or you can just do crypto to crypto, right? All decentralized, except in order to do some of the kind of stuff, they do have some arbiters. I think it was at first just the guy who created Manfred Carr, who I interviewed for Dash Force News. Interesting fellow. It was just him, and then he added some more. And they said they're working on their own DAO decentralized autonomous organization because they're. And so the point is, trying to have a good, smooth experience on a decentralized service is there's a lot of hurdles, right? And who knows? Like, what if something goes with this Evolution marketplace? What happens if something happens where it's either just flooded with spam, or just the searchable quality isn't that good, or it's too restrictive, or what if just no one wants to be arsed to use it, right? I'm just going to go somewhere else. That's why we have other decentralized services, or a multitude of centralized services. They have like business listings and things like that. And for example, Discover Dash today lists 353 businesses around the world that take Dash. And congrats to Albert for working so hard on that. Hi, Albert. I see it in the live chat. Anyway, it's good to have as many different services as possible, right? It's good to have as many wallets as possible. It's good to have as many exchanges as possible. It's good to have as many everything as possible. I know Evolution is going to blow everyone's mind off, but at some point there might be some sort of inefficiency with that, or there might be it's not all that it's hyped, and then they have to go back and do some tweaks to make sure it's good. There's always some kind of thing like that. So let's not stand around sitting on our hands waiting for Evolution. Let's supply the needs of Dash today and forever. And if Evolution obsoletes something we've been working on, let's just celebrate that. But wait for that to happen. Don't just be like, well, Evolution, with Evolution, Evolution, the sun's going to rise and be shiny every day. And without Evolution, no. It's like, we kind of still have to work.
I think that, I mean, if the marketplace could also be basically a decentralized exchange. I don't know how fast that would be, but you could at least have something like a local Bitcoins type exchange within the Evolution wallet app or whatever. It may not be as fast as the centralized exchange. However, BitShares has been doing the decentralized exchange thing for a while. I remember trading in their wallet. I mean, it's been over a year ago, and then they do have a website based trading platform, which I did trade the DAO token back in the day, made a little money, got out, I don't know, probably a week or two before the hack. Got lucky on that one. Dodged that
boy, did you get lucky, man. That was a big disaster.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yes. So a lot of exciting things coming out, and we're talking about Evolution, and that's been all Dash could talk about for a long time, but things are happening now, right? Which is, from what I've heard, and obviously some core members have to chime in, like Chuck is right over here. So the Dash version of the Copay wallet, which is an open source multi-signature wallet for Bitcoin designed by BitPay. The Dash version is in its alpha testing. So that's great. Supposedly it'll be a precursor to Evolution. Like, it's not going to be what Evolution is. It's going to be parallel to the Evolution wallet. But if I am properly understanding it, there's a lot of there's a lot of similarities between the two in how it works. And so already the first stages of that are coming out. Dash has had a 2.5 minute block interval and a 1 megabyte block size for 3 years now? Until November, when it gets changed to 2 megabytes, right? And they're going to do Evolution testing, according to the roadmap, on with a bunch of partners this December. So Evolution's starting to happen now. And it's going to be, you're going to, I don't know, have a few long weeks, deal with some bills, go on vacation. You're going to wake up, oh, crap, it's June. Evolution's out. It's going to be before you know it. So keep your head in the game, keep your eye on the prize, keep pushing forward, telling everyone, because otherwise there's going to be the situation where Evolution's out, it's amazing, and then you just telling everyone, hey, use Dash Evolution. They're like, well, I just got my Litecoin Lightning wallet. I like that. And it's like, well, no, this is way better. And you have to build the narrative, build the hard work up to that moment so that people just haven't moved on collectively. And you don't have to spend half a year with the world-changing product, trying to get people to use it, trying to get people to figure out what it even is. Like, let's get on that now.
Yeah. I'd just like to dangle the carrot to get the guys, all our viewers,
metaphor
to get all you guys to come back next week. Last week's show, we spoke about merchandise, and I mentioned Philadelphia and perhaps getting him on the show to do a giveaway. I spoke to him earlier on the week about coming on to the Free Amigos today to do some kind of giveaway. Unfortunately, he had some work commitments, so he couldn't commit to today. But what's being discussed, and some the details are still working out. But what it appears to be is next Friday we will do a giveaway on the Free Amigos, and what it'll be is it'll be like a design contest. So you have to design. Whoever creates the best Dash t-shirt design will win some free swag. What that free swag is, that's down to Philadelphia, and that's what needs to be decided. But that will be next week, so we'll get him on and then get that sorted. So for those of you that are creative, make sure you tune in next Friday, because you don't want to miss out on that.
What can I do to earn a free Trolero shirt?
Well, the thing is, I don't stock them. They're actually closer to you, right, than they are to me, because they print them in the US.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna have to interrupt the shipment and just like rate it, stick them up, give me all your Trolero shirts.
You know, it actually worries me a little bit that people are more interested in the Trolero t-shirts than they are the Dash ones. I had DJ Crypto messaging me today saying, dude, you better have a Trolero t-shirt for me in London. I was like, dude, I don't have anything here. You know, if you're one of the lucky 100 people coming into the conference, you might be able to get a t-shirt if you're quick. But, you know, so...
yes, so I think that's what an interesting thing. Sometimes at the same time, it showcases that was where the fun goes in, where you kind of tapped into a cultural thing that's not just Dash, it's interesting, or hey, cash cow crypto, which, you know, is a step up because it's an interesting meme, right? But
yeah, that's why
the other thing is it's a metaphor for the free market, right? You're just like, I'm gonna make a Dash t-shirt show, like t-shirt shop, and get everyone the best Dash swag, and then what's your most requested item? The one little one-off joke that you like. You just can't. That's the thing with.
I didn't even add it. It was like a personal joke thing.
And then just everyone wants that. And that's the thing about, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, people just think they can predict the market. Like, well, we know people want low fees and a good user experience and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to have, like, what if people don't want like a shoppable back end of the Evolution app for like what if they want to go somewhere else for their business listing? Like, you don't know that until you try it out. It either succeeds or flops, right? And so that's going to be the fun thing with when Dash comes out. We're going to see what features people use and like and what they don't, and you can't really predict that. And so that's the thing, is more Trolero shirts, because they're always going to be very popular. What I would love to see is Troleros themselves buy them.
People like to turn heads, or people see things and they have to like look twice. And I think it's a joke t-shirt. Think like funny catchphrases and stuff, that always seems to do quite well. I think it'll be interesting to see what people come up with, whether they're quite serious t-shirts. I mean, I would like to do, there's a few things I still like to do. I was just finding the time to do it. I'd like to do a dedicated Dash Miner t-shirt, and a few jokey catchphrasey ones. But, you know, I think, yeah, you're right, Joel. Mixing things and making jokey things, it makes people want to wear it because it's enjoyable, it's fun, and there's meaning behind it, as opposed to just wearing a logo for something. So, yeah, hopefully a lot of you are
speaking of logo, logo and shirts, that reminds me, the apartment building I live in has a lot of sort of upper middle class, older folks especially. And I was in the elevator the other day with a Bitcoin t-shirt, and he was like, "Oh, I recognize that stock. I know a lot of people made a lot of money on that stock." I'm like, stock.
Yeah,
okay, whatever.
They got an awesome CEO. Yeah, it's the CEO that's driven it. We'll probably wrap it up. We're getting close to an hour, but I was going to raise one more subject that happened this week. I missed out on some of it. I try to keep up through my phone, but that was the I guess there's some kind of chain analytics that supposedly has de-anonymized Dash, but yet it was a closed environment and it was just very sterile, and it turns out that that's actually not true. Joel, you did an article about it.
Yes, I saw that come out. Hat tip to AMP, Alex, for showing that to me. Read through the paper, and it's, the more I think about it, the more I'm like annoyed by it, because a bunch of professors that are pimping their open source analytics tool that they BlockSci that they came out with, and they have all this hyperbole about Dash. We're able to easily track, oh, Dash is all over, and then you read through their thing, and it just like at the they talk about how they use a cluster intersection attack to find all the private send inputs and link it back to a wallet and all this kind of stuff. Then just make it sound so gloom and doom until the very last little bit of text on the paper says, well, so first we didn't use this on the Dash blockchain. We just copied the way private send works and just tested in our own closed source laboratory type environment. Second, this attack only works if you send all your Dash in one single input, in one single transaction into a wallet, mix it all and send out the whole amount. It only works if you can go do that. And he says it would be very difficult to apply this to any previous Dash transactions. Okay, so we're safe. And so basically, and I will be writing an article about private send best practices to make it more airtight. But basically, if you receive into your core wallet a few different transactions, and then you send private send out with fewer than 10 private send inputs, which you can use the coin control features to do that. Basically, if you do that, this tech just doesn't work. So like 90% of, like 99.9%. What was it? I forget what was the specific response from core about that. About it was an edge, like a fringe attack.
Yeah, Unigen. Shout out to Unigen. Moo got some great insight, and Macrochip did some good analysis on all those. And somebody pointed out they were talking about something about 55. They had 55 inputs and 55, and then they got 55 denominations. But somebody said, well, that couldn't be the case because of the fees. But however, it was the case because they didn't use our blockchain. They did their own implementation that obviously didn't have fees. Very flawed. And also, this, our technology is not something like Monero that just sits there. And I guess they've improved recently after they've been de-anonymized a couple of times. They've supposedly got their acts together now. But yeah, our technology keeps improving, and Evan has new improvements. Macrochip once again pointed out I totally forgot about the Masternode blinding through the DAPI, and he has other ideas about how to make it even more bulletproof. So it's not like we're just a sitting target. We're continually moving and improving.
And on that, Andy Freer got back to me earlier in the week, and he said he gave a big list of all these GitHub pull requests for all these different fixes to private send that have been implemented, are being implemented, and will be implemented. So they're totally on the ball with that. And that's the thing, is research like this, the cluster intersection attack is it's hardly a real use case, more like an edge case. But that doesn't mean it doesn't reveal something interesting. It reveals something like when you break up all these inputs into the exact same denominations and they all kind of go out on the network around the same time. You can kind of use that to figure stuff out. And so it kind of gives insight on how do you plan in the future. But for a fun reference, it's kind of like saying, hey, quantum computing can break Monero's privacy and completely de-anonymize a blockchain. It's like, true. Where's the quantum computer that can do that? It's not around yet, right? So it's the same thing saying, oh, the cluster intersection attack can totally de-anonymize private send. It's like, in theory, yes. Well, can you make it work? No. So just wait for it.
There was a great post on Reddit. It's been a while back. I've posted it in response to some trolls in the past. It's several months old, but it talked about, somebody broke down the mixing and basically the government's new attack or whoever adversary's attack on how they'll de-anonymize transactions, including Moneros and Bitcoins and everything else. And it has nothing to do with mixing really or anything like that. It's just they were using I forget how they phrased it or worded it. I'll link to the Reddit article in the Dash Force channel on Slack there. But basically, the only way to defeat it, Monero can't defeat it, Bitcoin can't defeat it. The only way to defeat it, they can defeat it, but you have to have rounded denominations. That's the way their new tracking method, because they can track somehow just any kind of, unless everybody starts, universally using tens, fives, 100s for every purchase. That's the only way to get around this new analytics that they've put together. And it just so happens that's what our private send does. It breaks these things down into denominations, into where it's all ones and tens, and it makes everything kind of uniform. And so that's one of the things that we do that CoinJoin didn't do, is the denominations, and that other Bitcoin mixers and stuff don't do. But that would, in real world practice, it would be impossible for Bitcoin, Monero, and all these things to have everything priced exactly like $10 or everything exactly 15. But that would obscure this new tracking method if everything was like 10, 20, 30 and those type denominations, or tens and hundreds type denominations. And we already do that. That's what we do.
Yes. And I'll read a little bit from the Gospel of Duffield. No, I'm just going to quote something Evan said. Someone posted on Reddit about, what do you think of ZK snarks for privacy, right? And then Evan said, off-chain mixing solutions are always going to be better than any sort of cryptographic functions that are stored on-chain. Think about quantum computers, ASIC fabricated specifically to made to break said cryptography, etc. When the value being transmitted exceeds the cost of producing such a device, it will be done, probably in private by nation states for the specific purpose of breaking the anonymity. And so I ask, is
Joel's cutting out.
Sort of doing things off chain? Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah, you've been cutting out a little bit. Say that again.
All right. Well, the whole thing?
The last part of it.
So he just said, when the value being transmitted exceeds the cost of producing such a device, it will be done, probably in private by nation states for the specific purpose of breaking the anonymity. And then I asked him, is private send more quantum resistant? And he said, yes, that's a feature of doing things off chain.
Yeah.
So while everyone's trying to go for the fancy new things, right? Everyone's trying to go to their all the newest cryptography, zero knowledge proofs, all this kind of stuff. Dash is sort of thinking one step ahead of the game, trying to go with the kind of boring old solution and fine-tuning it to where it really works in the modern age. And if you look at Zcash has done a great job of doing thorough research and everything. And if you see what they say about quantum computing, they say in theory and later on in practice that will definitely work against Zcash's privacy, and they're researching ways of combating that for when that ever arises. So it is a real thing, and it's good that Dash already has this quantum resistant kind of thing. And here's my theory, right? And this is the last thing I need to say. I think Dash being a common use crypto with its privacy function being just, there if you need it, is going to be a much smaller target than something that is their entire raison d'etre, right, is privacy. And then that means that the solutions meant to crack those kinds of highly encrypted privacy type transactions like Zcash and Monero, there's going to be a lot of money and focus behind breaking that. And they'll kind of ignore Dash for the most part, despite, still having more airtight policy. But that doesn't mean we should ever stop being vigilant. We should welcome as much research as we can, as many bug bounties as we can, as much as possible to just beat the crap out of every feature of Dash to make sure it works.
Yeah, since we're off chain, quantum computing can do nothing. It's off chain. They can't. That's why Monero and these other ones are vulnerable. I think Toke Normal or Big Canada was just pointing that out to somebody in the Bitcoin Talk thread. And I did find this Monero thread about the denominations and how that thwarts the new analytics that they're trying to do. But unfortunately, it looks like it's been deleted. Their whole post was deleted. I'll post it in the all the information they had. It was really good information. I don't know why they
post was
deleted
this
it.
again?
Here, I'll post it in the. This is from a Reddit post, and it talked
Okay.
about how denominations are the only way to effectively get around the new analytics. Monero can't do it because they're looking at how much the outputs that were spent, and the, you know, if it's like 25.2 or whatever, they can easily track that through. It had I wish I could explain it better, but it's all deleted. But I don't know. It was up not too many months ago, but it's 10 months old.
Did Macrochip post that? Because if he did, he got a permanent ban on our cryptocurrency.
This is from I just posted it in the Dash Force Slack channel. They're on Dash Nation Slack. This is from r/darknet markets, but it was just talking about blockchain analysis and anti-money laundering. It says it's a cross post from Darknet Markets OZ, so it may still be there. But it's a really interesting post, and yeah, basically just describing a new method for de-anonymizing, and then, you know, they can mix all you want, except unless you do it with the denominations like we do. It's not effective if it's just a regular coin join. It has to be these denominations, and that's basically what they were saying. If everybody on the darknet market sold everything for $100, it would defeat their analysis, because it would just be one big blur, and that's what we do. That's what PrivateSyn does anyways. Yeah, that's unfortunately the whole thing it's showing deleted now, but
yeah. Well, let's get this live chat going with the community. So if you missed out last week, we're now doing a after hours show where basically you guys can come and join us, up to 10 people. That's the threshold that Google Hangouts can do. So if you would like to chat with us, get over to the Dash Nation Slack now. If you're not a member of the Slack channel, if you go to dashchat.org, you can sign up to the Slack there, and I will upload a link there to join the Hangout in the next few minutes. It looks like we've lost Joel there, so I'm sure he'll be back in a few minutes. Brian, have you got any final words, or should we just jump straight into it?
Yeah, the after party was great last time. I was really surprised. I was worried there wouldn't be that many people, but man, we had a full house, and it went on for a while. Yeah, I'm still a bit sick. I'll probably tap out early, but I'll hang in there as long as I can. And it was really interesting. It was really fun, and it worked out great. So yeah, please join us.
Yeah, I have nowhere to be, so I'll be. Well, I do need to go for a run eventually, but yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, so 2 minutes. The link will be in Dash Nation Slack. Be there or miss out. And if you can't join, we'll see you next Friday. And don't forget t-shirt giveaway, hopefully. So yeah. See you soon. Free Amigos next Friday. Same as always. Episode 17 done. Good. Cool. See you later. Bye.
Bye for now.